Okay, the recording started. Good morning, students. We're starting fresh now. And today we're going to focus on 3.8 and 3.7, 3.8, maybe 3.9, depending on how it goes. All right, so the recorder's on and let me share my screen. And the complete screen. And can everybody see it? Just give me a signal to say that, yes, it's working, sir. Let me just see a thumbs up or anybody. Okay, your hand was raised, meaning it is working. Thank you, thank you. Is it YOLO? Tina. All right, thank you, Tina. YOLO. Okay, let's see where we at. Okay, someone will just admit that. So here we are, 3.7, 3.8. And I think we maybe keep 3.9. I will do maybe with Group C tomorrow. Or we take it from there on Tuesday. So let's see what 3. Admit. Let's see what 3.7 is all about. What are we now? 3 minutes past 10. Let's keep it short and sweet, because the crux of today is actually that imports and export part. Okay. So let's open up 3.7. I downloaded it from Blackboard. And obviously the questions and starter file is inside. Double click. Oh, shall I say the questions is in the starter file. Let me put that water there. Okay, and let's make the screen a little bit bigger. So this is the conditional formatting 2 and conditional formatting 1. Let's make the screen a little bit bigger so everybody can see. And here's the question. Okay, so basically, it's not difficult, people. We're focusing on this. This is the outcomes today. And all these things inside here. All right. Let's see if someone, it's admit. I thought it was a question. So in column E, use conditional formatting to highlight all the values that is more than, greater than 37. So focus on column E. Pardon, step 1. We select that row, column E, from E2 all the way down. Quite a lot of information. Can you see the data? Almost 600 data, 562, 63 data. So we shade in with our mouse and we selected that whole column, and I'm scrolling up. Can you see there? And I can click on there and move it to the top. And they want me to use conditional formatting to highlight the values that it is more than 37. Conditional formatting to highlight. Keyword, to highlight something that is more than or greater than, and we type in with our keyboard 37, and we can use any color of your choice. We can use a green, we can use a yellow. They didn't give us a color, so I'm going to keep it red. And klar, voila, 2 marks. There we go. I shaded in the column, I went to conditional formatting, and I highlight all these values that is more than 37 if we scroll all the way down. Can you see? And that means the values that are not shaded in is less than 37. The other way around. Make sense? All right. Next one. In column D, which is this column over here, also highlight the values which is less than 30, and I'm going to choose a different color probably. So again, from D2 all the way down to 500 and something, 563. They want me to highlight the values which is less than 30. Same over there, but less than. That's more than, less than. And the number is, I click in there, 30. Let's see. But why is all those values highlighted? So let me just take that $sign away. And it's still highlighted. Why is conditional formatting doing that now? Someone's mic is on. Please mute your mic if you want to ask a question. I think it's this person. Lizzie, your mic is on. Or your mic is on. Let me just mute all. Okay. But I want to know check why. It's minimized. Why has it all been highlighted as 30? Because that is in more than 30. How can that be highlighted? So let me go down here and let me clear the rules. Let me clear the conditioning rules. Managing clear the selected cells rules. And it's highlighted conditional formatting less than, less than. There we go. And I chose the color green. And I say, okay. So 28 is less than, 29 is less than, there they all the conditional formatting colors are less in green or less than 30. All right, so far so good, people. So there you can see them. And the last one, use conditional format to add data bars to column F. So we need to admit, we're going to add data bars to column F. Same steps, highlight all those information in column F to 560 something. Over there, conditional formatting, data bars. Okay, I'm going to choose any color blue gradient. And that's it. I'm just getting people familiar with the different features of conditional formatting that they can ask you in the exam. Let's look at this one over here, the next sheet. Here's some things over here. Let's make this sheet a bit bigger. A little bit smaller. Okay. In column C, use conditional formatting to highlight the marks less than 50. So from there, we don't add in the total columns. From C4 to 25. Highlight less than 50 using any color of your choice. Less than 50. And I'm going to try the yellow color. And okay. Use the icon set, which tells us the good, the average, and the poor marks in column D. Again, highlight column D from there to there. And the key word here is icon set, conditional formatting icon set. Which one is good, bad, but let's see, average marks in column D. Okay, indicators. Let's use that indicator. Which mark is good, which mark is average, and which mark is like bad. You can choose it, or you can choose the colors. Green for good, red for a bad mark, and orange for average. Can you see? But they will tell you and they will specify in the exam that you must use a shape or this directional or ratings or whatever. So I'm just going to choose shapes. So the green ones are good, the red ones are bad, and the orange ones are the average marks for column D. Use a color scale for the marks in column E. Again, column E, test 3, we select, and they want me to color scales, conditional formatting, color scales. Okay, choose any color of your choice. Let's go there and go back there. How's that one? And that one. Okay, that one. They didn't tell me which specific one. They just asked me to generally use color scales. So conditional, highlight the top 10 in the final mark. Let's see the last one. The top 10. Oh, the top and bottom rules. The top 10 items. No, is it that one? The top 10 in the final result. Okay. And let's maybe choose a color green again. And okay. So students, use the ascend to cell style for the headings. Oh, okay. That is a heading. Ascend, let's go to styles. Styles. Ascend style heading. What style? Cell styles. Keyword, the cell styles. And what heading? Can't I move this down? Let's click away. Use ascend to cell styles. Ascend to. Is it that one? But what percent? Let's just see. Ascend to. Use the cell styles. Ascend to. Okay, that will be more specific. As a heading, so we're in the heading section. Ascend style to. Okay, how about that one? And then use the calculation cell style for the averages in row 27. Let's make this values a little bit bigger. Let's say 16, and I double click, auto fit, and auto. Calculation style. So I select my area, I shade in with my mouse. Sorry, I took a sip of water. Cell style, calculation cell style for row 27. Okay, we're in row 27. So they want me to use a calculation cell styles, but a calculation cell style, which is that one over there, or check cell, or whatever, But they want me to use the particular calculation. And let's make this font a bit bigger again, say 14. There we go. And save. Students, that is your different type of conditional formatting and cell styles that you can use in documents one day when you go into the real working world, all those type of things. All right. So this is save. And 3.7, is there any questions so far? So that's just an overview of conditional formatting and the various cell styles we use or can use or can be asked in the May-June exams. Any questions so far on your side? Nothing in the chat box? Are you guys good? Don't be shy, speak to me. I know people are very inactive, they don't want to talk. But probably it's data and all those things. Okay, there's a thumbs up. Now we're rolling. Thank you, guys. Okay, you with me. So far, so good. Okay, students, are we ready for importing an access table into an Excel worksheet? And that is 3.8. Why is my phone ringing? I don't know who these people are. I just want to check if there's anything in front here. Nothing. Okay, nothing. Fine. Let's continue. I bought a license disc for my car, which I almost forgot. And they're supposed to drop it off. But anyway, 3.8. Importing, minimize, save, exit, minimize, and exit. And that's 3.7 and 3.8. All right, let's open up import table into Excel. So, here we go. This is what an access file looks like, students. And as I enable editing, and on my left-hand side, this is a soccer football example that I'm using. And I double click on goals. And let's make the screen. Where's my percentage here now? I want to make the screen a little bit bigger. Can't I numlock? What is that? Data sheet, design view. Okay. Yes. In what view are we working with? We're currently in the data sheet view. But behind the scenes in Access, students, we have what we call a design view. So in order for you to create a table, which we're going to probably do in semester 2, Access, by unit 5, around about there, we're going to create a table and we're going to use these type of things. But for now, for this example, the table has been created for us already. And admit, okay. Okay, so these are the information behind the scenes, and this is what we see in front of us now, which is exactly the same information over there and over there, and this is the data type of settings that we use to create what we see in the data sheet over here. So, this is a simple data table with various soccer players and various goals that they scored and various goals that did they reach target or not. And that is when we're going to do if statements later on in unit 4, semester 2. Don't get confused with the if statement and a count if, like we did the count if exercises the other day. So don't worry about that. The crux of this exercise and the outcomes and the criteria is how we're going to take this table and we're going to import it into Excel. So this is how it's going to look. But I'm going to do it on a new sheet, or I am going to delete the sheet. In other words, this is how that over here is going to look like when we import it into Excel sheet over here. So what am I going to do? Step 1. I already did it. So this is just to show you. I'm going to delete this whole sheet. And I'm going to do it over. And I'm going to delete that sheet. No, we can keep that sheet. That's fine. So students, let's read the question. Let's open up the question. And it goes something like this. Here we opened up the workbook. And now they basically want us to import that table into the above sheet. Rename the worksheet to goals and save it as blah, 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 and upload it to Blackboard. So, students, step 1, the very first step. When we do an input to Excel, make sure that this file is closed. If the file is open, the process will not work. I just opened this file to show you what the table looks like and how we're going to do it. But when you do the actual process, we exit and close. So, right, what do we have open? The questions and the spreadsheet. Right, students? Maximize, make it a bit bigger. Okay, I can't. I want you to see this here. Step 1, data tab. Step 2, we're going to get data. From where we're going to get it? From the database, and the file is an Access database file. You see, in the real working world, we have various types of databases that you're going to use in the real world one day if you're going to go into the IT side of accounting. But we just focus on the basic Microsoft Access database file. And I click. Step 1. I'm going to do it again when we're done the process. Don't worry. So let's wait for this file to open. This menu appears. Now, what does this menu tell me? This menu is trying to tell me, where did I save my exercise 3.7 on my desktop? Let's go find it. Let's go find it. Type modified, the highest exercise. Where are you? Not there. There we go. I double click. And there's my Access file called goals. And I click on import. Here we go. It takes a couple of minutes because it's processing. So just hang in there, students. Right. This menu appears. Okay. We click on goals to see if it is the table. Remember, in database, you can have a hell of a lot of tables in here, students. So you need to find the right table with the right name. In this case, the name of the table is goals, or the file is goals. And this is what my table looks like. In other words, this is the table that's going to appear in the Excel spreadsheet somewhere over here. And the last part, we click on load. Voila. Now give it a couple of seconds. Students, that is your import process. Import process and exit. We don't need to see this. This is to try to tell us that the import was done successfully. And I exit. And I make my screen a little bit bigger for you to see. And the sheet has been already renamed as goals. So I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it on sheet 2. Step 1. We know the access file is closed because we don't see any red A in my taskbar at the bottom. So the file is closed. Step 2, data tab. Step 3, get data. What type of data? A database. What type of file? An access file. And I move around with my mouse and I click on him. The menu appears on the desktop. There's my goal sheet. Goals access file, sorry, on the desktop. 3.8. I double click. And there it is. I click on him and I say import. That is the name of my sheet, goals. I click on him. I have a little preview to see how it looks, and I click on load. 3 marks. 3 marks. Exit. Successfully done. Make it a bit bigger. 3 marks. June exams, people. See, the sheet automatically named goals 2 because there's already a goals. That was the one sheet that we did it in. That was the other sheet we did it in right now. So students, that is how you import and access database table into an Excel spreadsheet. So yes, you're going to get a database file in June. And that database file is going to have information like something similar to this. And you're going to do that process data, etc., etc. And you're going to import it into here. We can take this a little bit further. I only want to see the people that scored more than, or shall I say, scored less than 15 goals. That is less than 15. That is less than 15. I clicked on that little down arrow over there. Can you see? That's, I selected all. I only want to see the goals that is less than 15, which is 10 and 14 and okay. So those are the 2 soccer strikers or football players that scored less than 15 goals in a season, a soccer season, a football season. And if you want to see everything again, I click on him, I select all, and okay. There we are. Make sense? So that is import, student. Easy peasy. Like I said, watch the video. You won't go wrong. And save him. And exit. And that's the main crux of this exercise over there. Let's make it green or blue. So step 1, make sure your access file is closed. Step 2, you open up your Excel test file, exercise file. Step 3, data tab. Get data. What type of file? An access database file. You find the file on your desktop, on your flash drive, or wherever you saved your exercise. Sorry, you select the goal sheet, you have a preview, you see how it looks, and you click on load, and it'll do the process for you. 2, 3 marks, June exams, my students group B's and C's and A's. Any questions? And exit. And exit. And exit. And let's go. Oops, that's my email. Right. I think we can tackle. We got time. Let's go and. Hey. Oh, sorry. The dog was laying by my feet. I think I tramped on a tail by accident. Anyway, I think we can do 3.9. Let's roll with it. Let's see how far we get with it. If there's no questions and everybody is so far so good. Yeah. And this is quite a long exercise. And that's my email and minimize and 3.9. It's got to do with absolute referencing. The keyboard function, the function key, which is going to be a theory question in your unit 2. The F4 key on your keyboard. Let's go into Google. Quickly, let's move this thing to wherever and over there, and Google over there, and I'm going to type in F4 key. What are F4 key used for? And let's see what they say here. F4 key, primary repeat, action, Microsoft, especially in Excel, toggle ref. There we go. Absolute and relative referencing. In other words, it's going to look. Let's exit. Let's minimize. Let me open Word quickly. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Let me go quickly into internet again. Exit. Word. Is this the Word documents? A blank document? Yes. Let's minimize the screen. Yes. And caps lock F4. Make it bold and a bit bigger for you guys to see. So that's the F4 key. You will see it on your keyboard running right at the top. Now let me go into Google quickly again. And there. And keyboard keys. And let's go to images. And I just want to show you. Let's make it bigger. Oh, man. Here we go. That function over there has F1, F2, F4 is going to show us in the Word document a cell key. Say we're working in cell C3. But in between the C, we're going to have a $ and a $ at the end when you click on this F4 key. So that is how you recognize an absolute referencing function key. So watch for those $ in between. So when we do this exercise and when we come to that question, you will understand how it works, especially with percentages and VAT. And everybody knows that VAT is 15%. All right. So let's start. Exit. Don't save. Exit that. So these are just pictures of a keyboard, and that function over there, the F4 key, is one of our main focus. All right. Let's open up 3.9 and let's see how far we get with that. Over there, questions. And I think it's Richard Mr. Smuts, our Wellington lecturer. I named this exercise Richard's Fruit Store, RFS. And there is the main part. That's why I highlighted and bolded and italiced it for a reason. And we're going to cover count if. So what are we doing, people? The more exercises we're getting involved in the units, we are bringing in 3.1, bringing in 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and we all can, basically slowly but surely, how this whole unit and exercise comes together by using mixing of formulas and formatting. So the crux of this main exercise, like we did 3.8, was the import from a database into Excel. The crux, the main crux, is how we're going to use absolute referencing, especially the role it plays in percentages and in value added tax. So here we go. And this is how, shall I say, your answer sheet should reflect like this. So here we go. This is the question papers or the question, and that's the outcomes that we're going to cover. There's a new one. Remember I said we did yesterday, we did today's date. We did the text today, and today we're going to do the today's date by adding plus a number of couple of days to the date. So if today is the 1st of April, and I insert today's date plus 10. So what are we looking at? 1 plus 10, the 1st of April plus the 10 days. We're looking at the 11th of April as a future date. So watch out for those things when we get to that part over there. So I'm just giving you an overview of what we're going to cover in this exercise 3.9. And here we go. Open up the starter file. And let's make this file nice and big for everybody to see. Okay. And the question, step 1, we open up the file, and at the end of the exercise, end of exercise, we're going to rename it to your surname, your student number, and your group, etc., etc. Open up the above exercise spreadsheet and rename sheet 1 to RFS. Insert a color light blue tab. Okay, something similar that I spoke about yesterday. Right click, here's our sheet. Right click, rename it to capital letters R Richard Fruit Store. Oops, the caps lock button is on. Richard Fruit Store. And I click away. It's been renamed. 2 marks. Right click, rename, add a color, and add a tab color light blue over there. There's your 3-4 marks. So far, so good. Let's highlight that too. In yellow, it's done. Let's scroll down. Auto fit all the columns where necessary, and auto fit all the rows where necessary. So I'm going to do 3 and 4 together. Right. Double click. We're fitting the columns. Auto fitting the columns. Double click. Click, 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 click. Double click. Double click. Double click. And there. And there. And there. And one more to the right by price. Oh, that is it. That's the final one. Now we're going to double click and auto fit the rows between 1 and 2, and 2 and 3, and 3 and 4, and so on and so on. Let's see what that one tells us. Double click. Click, click. How about that one? Double click. Double click. Click, click. And another one over there. Click, click. Everything else looks quite fine. So auto-fitting rows, which I just did now, and auto-fitting columns. Columns are A, B, C, D. That runs up and down, which is vertical. Rows run from left to right, which is horizontal, and which is represented with the numbers on the left-hand side. All right. So if I say row or cell E4 or E7, we are in column E, row number 7. Make sense? You will see it's highlighted, and it's highlighted with a little darker gray color. So far, so good. Next question. Let's see where we're at. Number 5. Merge and center the main heading from that cell to that cell, A1 to J1, with a font size 19, and we're going to change the font to Aptos. Yellow. From A to J, I select with my mouse, I shade in, and merge and center. And they want me to change the font from Arial to Aptos. And they want me to change the size to 19. But there is no 19 given to me here. There's a 18 and 20. So we're going to manually type the 19 in on our keyboard. 1, 9. Can you see him there? And we click on enter on our keyboard. Voila. So we made the font size a little bit bigger. All right. So far, so good. Center, middle align all the subheadings. Number 7. So I'm going to shade, admit. I'm going to shade in the subheadings. All of them there. Click and drag with my mouse. I'm going to center them. Center alignment in the middle. But I'm also going to middle align at the top. In other words, it sits left to right in the middle and from top to bottom in the middle. Let's see. So when I mark and I see those two are selected, that is 2 out of 2. Make sense? And save as we go along. Right. In cell J12 column width, we're going to change the width of the column of J12 to a 14 size. And we are also going to apply a wrap text to that heading or subheading, which is in J2. J, what's the what total gram price? J2. What's the name of it? Column width. Adjust the column width. In cell J2, adjust the column width to 14 and apply the whole row. From, no, only J2. Sorry, it is J2. Sorry. We are going to apply a what? Wrap text and a column width of 14. Now check. I move my cursor to that J column. You see that little black down arrow over there? I right click with my mouse. I go to column width. I'm going to change it. It's currently in 15.67. I'm going to type in 14 and I'm going to enter. So now it looks a little bit smaller, but check what happens now. When I click on that cell and I apply a wrap text, which you find over there by the alignment, it looks like it's going to go over 2 lines or 2 cells, but it's in 1 cell block. It's still in J2. So that is wrap texting, people, and that is adjusting and changing the column height. We can also change column rows. I want to change column row. Right click with my arrow. Can you see the black arrow? I right click and I want to change the row height, which is currently 14. I want to change it to 20 and check what happens. I made it bigger or wider. That is just to show you how we can change row heights and column widths. So I'm going to click on undo because they didn't ask us that. They just wanted us to focus on the column width of 14 and a wrap text feature. And save. Next. Apply all borders to the data table and a text box outside border to the main heading from JA1 to J26, yellow. So from there, all the way down to 26, I shade in with my mouse, all borders, 1 mark, and a thick box border over outside border around the main heading, which is Richard's Fruit Store. I click on that one, only over there with a thick outside box. Can you see that line is thicker than this lines? That's another 2 marks, people. and so on as we go along. Right. Where we now? Where we now? The total price. Okay, here's some mathematics and sums coming into the exercise. So this is basic sums. In H3, calculate the total price, excluding the VAT price, using the unit price and the quantity. They want me to in other words, they want me to multiply the unit price with the quality values to get the grand, or shall I say, the total price. So let's see, in cell H3, they want me to take that and multiply it with that. Straightforward, easy peasy calculations as follows. In mathematics, we always start with an is equal to sign. 14 Rand with a star for multiplication on your keyboard. The star represents multiplication, the dash represents division, and the minus and the plus, obviously, we all know, which is addition and subtraction. So we say 14 star 12, which means multiply by 12, and enter. Straightforward, easy peasy. And they're probably going to ask us to autofill those values down because the formula is locked in there. We must apply it to all those values over there by using that little black cross in the corner, and we pull it down. Click and drag. I keep my finger on the left click and I release my finger. So Excel automatically multiplied that with that, that with that, that with that, and all of the others to get me a total over there. That is like 2 marks plus 1 mark is 3 marks, students. Now, I think the crux of the exercise is coming in this column over here. Autofill the values down, which we did. And this is where we roll. I'm going to make it blue. Now we need to multiply something which is the VAT amount of 15%, which is shown to us in cell I3, right? With the percentage provided to us in B29. So VAT is 15%. VAT is 15% in the light. That's not light blue, man, Eddie. Oh, it is light blue, but let's make it a bit lighter so you guys can see it. There's the 15%. We must take that 15%, which is VAT, and multiply it to that value over there. So in column I3, we must determine what the VAT amount of the 168 is. So let me see. Determine the VAT amount. Okay. I think I want to show you something now. Mathematics is equal to that star for multiplication times the 15% and enter. So the VAT amount is 25 Rand. All right. Let's autofill and see. What did I do wrong? We just spoke about it a few minutes ago when I told you about the F4 key, when I told you about the keyboard. We need to, in other words, students, this formula over here in the formula bar is in relative form. We need to make this formula in absolute form so that the formula applies to all of the other values when we autofill down. So I'm going to click on delete. And I'm going to do that part over and I'm going to click delete again. Now watch. Is equal to same steps. 168 star the percentage, which is 15%. Then I click on my F4 key on the keyboard. Look what happens there. See a dollar sign between and a dollar sign between? And now I press enter, which is also 25 Rand 20. But when I autofill down, it will apply to all the other data. And I release my finger. So I showed you the first example where we did it in relative and we got a naught, 0, Rand, 0 Rand. And when I did it in absolute by applying that F4 key with the 15%, voila. Now we're rolling. So students, this is the crux of the exercise. The absolute reference, the F4 key, and when you apply it to percentages. All right. Now they probably just want me to straightforward add the grand totals up, which is that plus that. Remember when you buy something at the shop, the cost price is that, but they maybe didn't add the VAT percentage price or the percentage to the VAT on it yet. Here we just determine the percentage VAT of that amount. And they're basically asking us to do this is equal to that plus sign keyboard that for the grand total price of grains and cereals, 193 Rand. And obviously, autofill down to apply to the rest of the other, let's call it various fruit or product names. And I think we jumped the gun with that question. Grand total, yes, we did do now, and autofill it down, which we did do now. And I bring it back to yellow. Now they want me to insert a new column after or by column E. And we must give the heading a name called order ID and product name combined. And I already see something happening here. We need to combine. What's the key word? We need to join a something with a something. And that comes to mind is the concatenate formula of joining. So let's see. Step 1. Let's do 15 and 16. Insert a new column by E. Now they say by E, they mean after E. Right click, insert. Make sense? So by E, after E. In other words, you're making a new column F. Home tab. And I'm going to be lazy and naughty now. They want me to type in this word, but I'm going to copy and paste it in. But we're supposed to type it in there as a new subheading. And I'm going to Control V on my keyboard or paste. But obviously, we need to now make this look like the rest. This subheading here don't look like that subheading there. So step 1, autofit, which they did ask us to do there. New column, ID, and autofit the column. But these look like there's something missing from the party. This don't look normal, logically. Am I right? That subheading don't look like the other subheadings. So we need to make this subheading look like them. And we can use a quick feature called what we did yesterday, the format painter. I click on him. Format painter, and I apply it to that heading or subheading over there, and voila. And I double click again just to make sure that everything fits in place. How's that? So maybe we can add a question here and apply format painting. But logic in accounting, you can see that that runs in a certain sequence, in a certain way, because we middle aligned and we center aligned in our subheadings. So we have to apply it to that one too. So far, so good, students? Now, they probably want me to combine a something with a something using the concatenate formula with a minus symbol in between. So we need to join In cell E3, it's actually F3. You get me? What do they want me to join? The above two columns. Use a formula in cell, the order ID column and the product name column. They want me to join the data in there, but not in F3. I mean, not in E3, in F3. So that is a little typo error, and I'm going to make it in red and bolded in cell F3 when you go through this exercise. So if I just see something, oh, okay. Let's go up a bit. Insert a new column. Where's that question now? By E. So that was right. By E. So in other words, what did I do wrong? I made the column by F. So what am I going to do now? This can happen, people. You can make this mistake in the exam. So all that I do now, I copy and paste because I already applied that into this column over here. And I right click and delete this column. And I auto fit this column. So with E's by E, they would have said after E, which will be F. Make sense? So now it makes sense. The order ID, and they want me to join it with the product name in cell E3. So that is right. E3. And make it normal, automatic, and unbolded. Okay. With a minus sign or a hyphen sign in between the two data names information. So in other words, what are they saying, students? They want me to join the number with the product name, and they want me to put the answer in there. Step 1, formulas. Recently used, concatenate. Join that one with a minus sign in between, and we're going to join it in the third variable with the product name. And there we go. Can you see? And okay. And obviously, autofill this data down so that it applies to all the other information that we got in that column and in that column. So let's see source. Why is that source? Did you pick that up? So something here and something here is not right. That means the number is appearing. Let me look at sorry. Let's look at what this, maybe it's there for a reason. It's there. Why isn't those numbers showing? There it happened too. And there it happened. But there's the numbers. So let's see. Let's autofit this column. Ah, no wonder, Eddie. So there we go. Always make sure when you do your concatenate formula, people, make sure you auto-fit your columns again to widen it, to make sure that all the data appears. So there's the numbers, and that is the product name, and there's the product name, joined with a minus sign, There we go. So auto-fit the columns is very important. Auto-fill the data down, and auto-fit the column again. All right, we're getting there. Now we're going to move to the days function. In a certain cell, and I showed you the other day in the exercises that we did autofill, today's date. Let me show you quickly. Over here is equal to today. I double click and close brackets, enter. Then in the other exercise we did is equal to the text today, close brackets, semicolon, open inverted commas, where we must do it in a certain sequence. Why? It is the year 2026 with a minus sign. It is the month of April, minus sign, and today's date is the 1st. Close inverted commas, close my brackets, and enter. Can you see? But now today, they want us to do in that cell block highlighted in yellow in column B, 30, which is there. Use the today's date function by adding 5 days to the current date as a date. So what now? Let's make that bold, italics, and make it a little bit bigger and center it. So this is the normal today's function. This is the text today that we did so far. Now we're going to use the same function over here, but we're going to add a couple of days to it. In this case, plus 5. Now watch. I'm going to delete this. In there, formulas, recently used, today. But I am going to say plus 5. Check there. Check your formula bar. So today is the 1st, and plus 5, shouldn't it be Monday the 6th? Let's see what happens. And I click on enter. There's your formula. This is the 3rd today's date formula that I'm showing you. We did the plain today, we did the text today, and today's exercise, we did the today's date by adding a number of days to it. In this exercise, in this case, we added plus 5. So far, so good. Let's see what they ask us about the count if. Autofit in B31, highlighted in orange, which is not highlighted in, us use the quality column with a capital E to count the amounts that are less than and is equal to 30. So what is our column we're focusing on? The quality column, which is that one over there. And we need to count the values that are less than and is equal to. That means including the 30 and less. So this is a count if formula as follows. Highlighted in orange, and I didn't put the orange there. Let's make it quickly orange and save in B31. And here we go, students. So we know what the column focus is, quality column. We're going to use the count if formula, and we are going to less than count and is equal to 30. Now watch this formula. Sip of my water, and here we go. Formulas recently used, count if. What is my range? In other words, what is the column and the range I'm using? The quality, let's move him there. The quality column. From there, I keep my finger and drag it down, and I release it up to there. But the criteria that they want me to use is we need to count the values in inverted commas that are less than and is equal to, on your keyboard, 30. and closed. Watch what happens here. The preview, the answer. So if I look at that, there are 19 values in the quality column that are less than and is equal to 30. So we selected the range and we typed in the criteria or what they're asking us for. Less than and is equal to 30 and okay. So there are 19. Now check this out. What if I take them is equal to away and I just say less than 30 and I click on enter? So there's all of a sudden 17. So people, that's the difference of less than and is equal to. And I'm just going to go back into my formula over there. And I'm going to put the is equal to sign in between that 30 and the less than sign over there. And I click on enter on my keyboard. It should be back to 19. So watch out for that in the exam, students. All right. What else? Sorting. Custom sort. They want me to sort a particular column. In this case, the category name column in alphabetical A to Z order. Right. So what do? The most important thing is to select the proper range from A2, meaning including the subheadings to K26. A2. There we are. To HIJK 26. Step 1, I highlighted when clicked and dragged with my mouse, I selected the area, including the subheadings. And the focus column is this column over here, the category name column. We are going to sort this in A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, right up to Z order. Home tab, sort and filter. But we're going to custom sort on a particular column, which is column F, the category name column, in A to Z order, and okay. All the B's together, all the C's together, all the D's together, and so on, up to S, seafood. So we group them on category name, all this information changed in an A to Z custom column category name order. All right. That is that. Oh, conditional formatting, which we just did in a previous exercise, to highlight the cells that contain the text dairy products. And using a yellow color. So let's see. In other words, what column do they want me to focus on? The same column called the category column, because I see all my dairy products are grouped together. So I click away and I only select this column. From there, not the subheading, only the information from, what's it, F3 to 26. And I'm going to focus on highlighting the text that contains the word dairy. We're going to type it in and watch your spelling. It must be the same. Products. As you can see, it's already highlighted in red. But they want us to choose a color yellow. And okay. And save. And click away to see it. There we go. That's another 2-3 marks. And now we're going to change the page orientation and the margins to wide. So currently, this page orientation is like this page over here. Let me just show you the difference, what I mean by portrait and what do I mean by landscape. This current page, let's make it smaller. Can you see, is in portrait view. But I'm working in a Word document now. I want to change the orientation of this page to landscape. See what happens now. Now, the same thing that we see here is the same thing we're going to apply in the Excel sheet. I'll switch it back to portrait. I'm going to make the percentage big again for us to see. And scroll a little bit down. And same here. So this page is in portrait view. We're going to make it in landscape view. And where do we go? Layout. Orientation. Landscape. Remember, this is for printing. We spoke about it yesterday. This is only for printing purposes. And the margins, which is what currently normal, we're going to change it to wide. Margins is currently normal, and we're going to change it to wide. So you can't see it here, but you will see it in the print preview. It's running across now the document. They used to have, the old Excel used to show us the pictures. Anyway, go back. And there we are. We're almost done, people. We're almost done. Freezing the panes of the first two rows and then renaming the sheet to fruit. Insert a new sheet, rename it, and move the fruit store sheet so that it's shown first. Okay, moving a sheet. That is an outcome. So we're going to freeze the panes on the first two rows. So where do I place my cursor? If we're freezing the two rows above, my mouse cursor or pointer must be in row number 3, so that the first two rows stays frozen. And view, freeze panes, and freeze the panes. Let's see that imaginary line running there. So the first two rows are frozen, and when I scroll with my mouse up, down, the first two rows stays fixed. It stays frozen. All good, students? Right. Let's see. They want me to insert a new sheet. And they want me to rename it Fruit Store. And I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to copy and type this. Copy and paste this instead of typing it, sorry. A new sheet. And I'm going to click on rename. And I'm going to say Control V to paste it. And we called it Fruit Store. And I click away. Anywhere away here. But now they want me to take this sheet and move it to there, or take that sheet and move it to there. Let's see the question. Move the fruit store sheet so that it's shown first. So what do? I go into the tab. I keep my finger on the left click. I click. Can you see a little black triangle pointing down? At the bottom there, I click away. I keep my finger until that black. I click away. Can you see that? Right? And I move my mouse to the left so that the fruit sheet shows first, and the sheet that we just did our exercise is shown second. Now, if I want to move my fruit sheet back, I keep my finger on there and I move it to the left. And I release my finger off the left click on the mouse. That's it. But they want me to do it, or I can do it this way. Click on there and move it to the right, to the end over there. Voila. Same thing, people. We just moved the sheet from 1 to second, or from first to last in this exercise. And save. And save. Students, shoo. And yellow. This is my answer sheet, or how it's supposed to look. Let's make the screen a little bit bigger. So there you can see 19. There you can see 15%. There you see the values and the totals and everything. There's my conditional formatting. Here is my concatenate of joining that with that. Here is my percentage absolute referencing, where I multiplied 15% with the 156 using the F4 key, $, to make the formula absolute. I multiplied those two values to get me that total, and then I added these two totals to get me the grand total. Autofill, pull down, pull down. Here we sorted the document on category name in A to Z order with all the BCs and everything. That is the outcomes, people. Here we merged and centered the main heading, and I think did they ask us to bold the heading? Let's make it a little bit smaller. Merge and center the main heading and apply font size and font aptos. Format bold, fill with color orange. Oh, we skipped question number 6. I'm just making it in white. The main heading bolded with a yellow background, with an orange background color, and apply a double underline. So it's there. Home tab, we bolded with an orange, which we already selected the orange color, and a double underline. If we click on there's one underline, but they want me to double underline it to apply 2 little lines under there. Right. There's our exercise completed, students, and save. So now this looks like this. Shoo! What an exercise. And it's 11:15. We worked well. Save. Exit. Save. Exit. And obviously exit, and you're gonna zip, compress, zip, zip, rename it as your surname, student number, exercise 3.7, group ABC, rename it as whatever, what's it, surname, student number, exercise 3.8, group ABC. Rename this folder to your surname, student number, 3.9, group ABC. And upload to Blackboard in the zip form, in the zip form, in the zip form. Students, there's a question, and it's Lizzie. Let's see. Okay, Lizzie, do you want to chat the question, or do you want to ask me the question? You may go ahead. Unless your hand up is a false hand up, because your hand is showing there, Lizzie.
Sir, I can't check the question because my chatbot is not working. So I wanted to ask, are we only going to use the F4 function only for this year?
Oh, yes. We're going to use the F4 function when we're going to do an if statement. You're going to use the if function in the count if. You're going to use the F4 function, but they will tell you. You see, that is so unique about, very good question. That is so unique about it. You need to read your question when you see percentages. Let me show you another example. A rough one quickly. Let's open up Excel. That's a very good one. Right? And there. And I say 15, 20, 30, 92. I'm giving random numbers. I'm going to make the screen bigger. Right. We're going to total up these numbers. Over there. Now they want me to determine what is the percentage of each of these numbers. And you know, and I know, percent is always out of a 100. I'm just putting it in the corner. I'm giving you another example of how the absolute referencing F4 key plays a role. So now guess what I'm going to do now? That is the total. I've added up those values. I'm just going to make a little box and borders and a thick box. Just a simple scenario. I want to determine the percentage of 15, the percentage of 20, the percentage of 30 and 92 out of 157. Now watch. Check this out. And I'm going to type in here relative. And I'm going to type in here absolute. I'm going to show you the difference of the two and the importance of the F4 key. Now check. Is equal to 15 divided by 157. You get an answer. Right. But I'm going to convert this column to percentage, and I'm going to convert this column to percentage. So far, so good. Now I'm going to autofill this down. Look what happens. Check the formula. That is not what I want. I want to see what percent that is of the 20, of the 30, and of the 92. Right. Now I'm going to do the same formula using the dollar sign between the if and at the beginning of the if. Check now. What? Before I do, I want to copy this quickly and paste him over there. Ah, will it work? No, it won't, but no problem. Undo. F5/F9. That's the formula. Relative, it is spelling. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same formula, sweetie. Is equal to 15 divided by 157, but I'm going to click on my F4 key. And I'm going to say enter. But when I autofill down, can you see the difference now? Look at that formula. The dollar sign before the if, that's the importance. And when I add this up, what do you think this total must be? Exactly. Autofill, auto sum. So this is just for me to see that each of my percentages are correct and it's out of 100. But the question that you asked, this is another example of how you can use absolute referencing when we work out percentages. All right. I hope that answers your question, Lizzie. Sorry. Is your hand still? Okay, thumbs up. Okay, you can release your hands. So you see, we can use the absolute referencing in percentages. We can use the absolute referencing in VAT. That's the two main criteria, basically. And they will ask you the difference. Let's say here is 1,200 and a 0.12. And let's call that a 12%. Relative, absolute. Relative, absolute. Right, watch. Is equal to that star 0.12. Enter. Something wrong. And I say, okay. No problem. Let's use a comma. Check the formula. That's relative. But now, in there, I want to again multiply the value times the 12% using the F4 key and enter. Can you see the difference? The one relative is like in a decimal per process, shown in a decimal, and the absolute is shown in a percentage form. So I'm just showing you the difference of the two, which I'm glad you asked, because that is the difference. And you will read the question when they see multiply with a percent, then you know automatically it kicks in. Whoa, absolute referencing, F4 key, dollar sign comes to play. If they show you and ask you a question in a decimal form, then you just do what I did right over there in relative form. All right. Let's exit and say don't save and go back to the screen. So students, that is a way or various ways the difference with absolute referencing and relative. So if you go to your theory questions in Blackboard, where are they now? You will see the difference, what relative means, what absolute means. And this is going to be a big time 18, 19, 20 mark in your June exam, where you're going to determine certain percentages for absoluting, like in a cost forecast sheet. Same with your assignment, your group assignment. When you divide yourselves into groups of members of 4, something with absolute relative referencing is going to come in. So that's why that's a very important thing, students. Students, my throat is sore. Is there any other questions? Speak to me. Okay, Lizzie, your hand. Okay, your hand is still there, Lizzie. Are you clear? Are you happy? Can I remove your hand? Okay, and back to the chat box. So you happy? Is everybody any other questions, guys? So how many students are we today? 29, 28, 29. 24. There was 28 at one stage. I saw, yes. 29 students. Okay. 28, 29. And we go back to the front screen. Students, are you good? Is there anything else? Can we call it a day? Can I stop sharing the screen? Everybody happy? Okay. Students, okay, Group C, I don't need to see you tomorrow because it's a very good exercise that we did today. And I'm going to upload it later. And I will just let them know in the group chat. Students, if you're celebrating Easter, have a safe Good Friday and a safe Easter weekend and a safe Easter Monday. And hopefully, if there's any info coming, newsflash, I will keep you guys updated on the side. All sweet, guys. Let me stop sharing the screen. And that's a wrap. You guys can leave and call it a day. Take care, my students. Be safe. All right. Cheers, guys. I'm out. Okay, I'll just wait for this few to leave. Everybody gone? Not yet. There's still 5 or 6 people. All right. Okay. Take care, guys. And I'm out. Oh, stop the recording. Sorry. All right. See you guys.